Okay, the 49ers played their first exhibition game here at Levi's Stadium this season under Coach Kyle Shanahan, and they came away with a 33-14 defeat to the Denver Broncos. A very ugly game, sloppy game. 4 turnovers in the first half, 20-0 halftime deficit. They lost, what, 33-14? Is that what we said?
Sure, let's go with 33-14. For anybody who stuck around for the end, it was 33-14.
It's kind of what the stadium looked like in the fourth quarter, too, while C.J. Beathard was trying to rally him back. Well, let's get to our 3 takeaways from the 49ers' second exhibition game of this season after winning their opener in Kansas City last weekend. So number 1, just the overall sloppiness, Dan. I mean, they started the first exhibition game sloppy. They did it again today, just in a different fashion, where there was a special teams gaffe that led to a fumble. Then you had defensive penalties, and then you had some really bad offense, including Brian Hoyer with one of the all-time worst passes he's ever thrown. It slips out of his hand on 3rd down for a fumble, and there's penalties too, so it's not a very clean start of the Kyle Shanahan era.
Right. In the first game, it's almost excusable, right? You've got the first game jitters, you're on the road, you've got a bunch of new faces. This seemed to really kind of irritate Kyle Shanahan a little bit because the errors and penalties, they're pre-snap penalties, they're mental errors. The ball slipping out of the hand, that stuff's going to happen, but for 4 turnovers to happen in the first half is something that they, it's one of those things. How do you correct it?
Right.
Stop doing stupid things.
And that's kind of what they were saying. They're like, don't panic. Like Shanahan and Hoyer were like, look, we know it's just you can't do those turnovers, so don't panic, everybody. And Brian was basically saying there's so many negatives, which gets us to the number 2 thing, because as Brian Hoyer said, there's everything everybody feels bad about how today went. I said, well, hey, hold on. What was your thoughts on how C.J. Beathard performed from a quarterback's point of view? Because from our point of view up here in the press box, C.J. Beathard did pretty well. Now he's playing against second stringers. But he really picked up on the momentum from last game, and he's showing that he's an NFL-level quarterback.
For sure, and one of the things they talk about with Beathard is he's fearless, he's poised. He comes in there and he does not look like a rookie. I was really watching him closely tonight for any sign of jitters, indecisiveness, any kind of rawness, and he didn't have that at all. It's the play-action fake. He's finding the right guy. He's hitting the guy not only in space but on the run, where he's got room to move and make yards after the catch.
And he found his tight end from Iowa, fellow Iowan, George Kittle, and Kittle had a great touchdown for his first touchdown of the 40. Well, it was outstanding, wasn't it? Put his head down, tiptoed down the sideline.
Yeah, and he likes that style. He had 2 defenders, both of them had angles at him near the end zone, and he just knocked them out of the way like bowling balls. And I asked Beathard about that after the game, and he said he saw it all the time in Iowa. That's his style.
Well, see, all the Iowa guys did well tonight.
The Iowa guys.
They got to draft more Iowa guys. Okay, let's get to the 3rd and final thing before we put this game to rest, thankfully. What is our 3rd thing? Oh, let's go to Kyle Shanahan, right? See how he responded after the game. You could tell he was upset and tense and a little disturbed, as he should be. I think one aspect that he kind of brought up was one of the picking points of the game was Rashard Robinson started off bad, as he did last game. How did you think how he defended Rashard Robinson?
I mean, up here in the press box, we saw Rashard Robinson miss a tackle that led to a first down, just flat out whiffed on a guy, and then had a pass interference called against him in the end zone for another really costly penalty that set up a touchdown. And Shanahan, as blunt as he was after the game, and as clearly upset as he was, even though it's a preseason game, he very much backed Robinson. Said he's not a bad player, he made some bad plays, we can correct those things, we stand behind him. I thought that was meaningful.
Right, it was very honest, and he wasn't dismissive necessarily, like, oh, nothing happened, and he wasn't totally over the top. So this is his first real test of adversity that we're seeing under Kyle Shanahan. It's only his 2nd exhibition, so again, you kind of got to step back from everything, and I'm like, wait a minute. You look at everything, nobody got hurt out here that we know of, and that's kind of number 1 goal in an exhibition, especially when you have a thin roster like the 49ers. So they go into Minnesota next week for their 3rd exhibition. They're going to treat the week like a regular season week, how they practice and all the times. So you can follow our coverage on mercurynews.com, eastbaytimes.com, and that's it for Cam and Dan here in the press box in somebody's suite that we jumped into.
It's the head coach's suite. We better get out of here.
Bye-bye.